So I watched like the first 3 minutes of this and it drove me fucking nuts. TJ doesn't really say anything within the first couple minutes that bothered me, but the way he speaks now irritates me. I hate this character that he's playing. Okay, it's like...
I don't like Frey either.
It seems like every video we watch, he's doing a different personality. So we're going to watch this and I'm going to examine what about this I find so objectionable. Like, why do I dislike this so much? That's what we're going to be examining here. Let's see if we can get to the root of it.
Frey.
I already hate it. I hate the intro. Like, I just hate the voice. Into the fray. And Frey is him, right?
Yep.
Interesting.
Into the fray. Remember Kamala Harris's campaign slogan? We're not.
Honestly, no, I don't. I don't.
Oh yeah, this video.
Going back. We're not.
This is like 2 or 3 videos ago. It's called Kamala Harris was right about one thing, and I'm assuming that's that we're not going back.
Going back. We're not going back.
Ugh.
We are not going back.
Thanks, TJ. Now we know what you're talking about. We didn't
now we
know,
have
but now
context.
we do.
Not going back.
And I think she was right. I think
she was right. You're gonna notice this affect that he has.
I hate it.
That, as the video goes on, becomes more obvious.
that's true, but not in the way she meant it. You know what I mean? We're not going back to liberal democracy.
We're not going back to liberal democracy. Is he the Joker?
Like yeah.
He's the Joker.
I was gonna say
right?
like Heath Ledger's Joker.
He's doing the Joker.
But I was gonna quote like do you want to know which one of them are squealers? But I couldn't remember the exact like line.
It's always best to just do you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, that's just cliche.
That's the yeah, but that's why it's so good because you don't have to think about it. It's just there.
You gotta smack your lips too.
My lips are I'm cotton mouth right now. If you couldn't tell, and the eyes too.
I'm gonna
He's so
make this
sincerely
pencil
crazy.
disappear. Let me do a magic trick.
We're
I
not
cannot
going
quit you.
back to a country where both sides agree on the rules of engagement. That world is dead.
I hate it. Do you see what I'm talking about with like at the end of every sentence? And you know the cadence is the most important part of the song, really. So it's like, why is like he ends every sentence in like the worst possible cadence? I feel.
I didn't notice the idiosyncrasies of his like new affectation because I watched this at like times 2 speed because I cannot listen to any other hosts at normal speed without like wanting to kill myself.
And you can cry for it if you want. I get it.
I do
it's,
cry.
It's everything you've ever known. I get crying about it, but I personally will not be crying about it. I will not be mourning it.
He's doing the Trump weave.
Look at his like. Is this a fake mustache? His mustache looks like fucking Ron Paul's eyebrows or something.
Trump, at the end of the day, is a destroyer.
What? Okay.
Yeah, Trump. Life finds a way.
Listen to how breathy he is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I understand. So I always have to turn the volume up on these. So I get all of our like, like our breathing in between every word we say. So I always have to cut that out. Like I cut out a lot of the like that we do.
You're a very breathy person.
I'm breathy too, so I understand.
You're constantly laughing.
Yeah.
Clears the way for new growth. The fire of Trump clears the way for the emergence of new paradigms.
Now,
Yeah.
is this a praise of Trump?
No. Well, I don't know because Trump is an agent of chaos. He doesn't really have a plan, you know, so you don't know how it's going to go. I don't know. He likes Trump because he's an agent of chaos, but I think he still admits that what Trump is doing is grossly immoral. I don't know.
I hope so.
And right now,
We're going to find out though, how he feels.
MAGA stands to author the new order. Now, is it because they're smarter? We've seen interviews with these people, so we know that ain't the case.
Right, but they're like the MAGA rank and file like proletariat, right? Is not the one who's making all the changes. Those are the con men at the top, right? So it's just con men who are at the top, and the stupidest people are the most easily conned, right? So, but they're not the ones in there.
Is it because they're better? Well, I don't know. I think the reason is that they're the only side that seems to recognize the emergence of a new order at all.
At all.
The left, meanwhile, is stuck in denial mode, desperate to stop the fire like some low-rent Smokey Bear.
Or like a firefighter, right? Here's the thing, TJ. When people unite, they do put out fires, right? And the fires burn and the fires do tremendous damage. And, you know, I live near LA. I understand this pretty well. The people can come together and they do rebuild. You can stop a fire. Firefighting is a noble profession. It's noble to try to prevent a neighborhood from burning down, even if it is inevitable. And you don't often know that until it's already happened. Like, you don't know the inevitability of what we're in. Perhaps we can stop Trump. And it's not that we want to maintain the status quo. We do want to build something better, but we don't think that burning down a neighborhood is an acceptable way to do that. See, we think that there are better ways to build than burning down everyone's house, right? Like lighting the hundreds of federal employees on fire who now have to wake up and have workplace harassment be the norm that they live through every day. That, to me, isn't worth building a better world. I think we should try to find a way to do that without lighting those people on fire, right? For example. Right. So that's why this is sociopathic and solipsistic.
Only you can prevent Trump fires. You ain't stopping the fire, baby.
Yeah, this is kind of pro-Trump, right? Like,
you ain't bringing back what's already burned. I will not pine for
gross.
For what is dead.
Who gives a fuck what you pine for, you dipshit? Nobody cares.
You hear that line?
I will not pine for what is dead.
He will not pine for what is dead. Which sounds to me like a downplay of Trump, but also an acceptance of like not wanting
accepting
a liberal democracy. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, TJ probably doesn't believe in liberal democracy. He thinks he should be king, right? So we already know that.
He used to want to be king, but now he's just a wizard.
I will not weep for what is dying. It had its time, and its time.
So forget about the politics of it, right? Forget about the coded message of like, actually, Trump can't be stopped and it's a good thing. Forget about that. The way that he performs in this video makes me so fucking hateful. I have no idea why that is. It's just the affectation. That's it. That's gotta be it. The way he's choosing to perform right now, just fucking drives me up the wall. I hate it. I hate this so much.
It is over. A new time has begun. And in this time, we need new ideas.
I thought that Trump was just I thought Trump was standard Republican, right?
He is.
Dipshit.
Fog, standard Republican.
Hold on. You've been talking about how Trump isn't that bad. He's not that crazy. Where's this energy on the show, by the way? But, you talk about how Trump is just standard Republican, but now Trump has changed. He represents the new order. He represents destroying what has been. More examples of TJ's doublethink here.
Don't get me wrong, Trump's fucking doing some heinous shit. A lot of this shit is standard Republican fare. And a lot of the fucking stuff that you expect me to give a shit about, I don't. One of these stupid fucking idiots cracked open any fucking history book worth of shit. They realize this is not what's going on now is not some radical departure from America.
It's
This is fucking business as usual. This country's always been this way.
You gotta come, like, they're just like, well, what about this tariff shit? Oh, you mean trade protectionism? Yeah, that's never a part of Republican fucking administrations historically.
You know what's really funny too is that Trump in his last administration pass a bunch of fucking tariffs against China. And when Joe Biden got in there,
He continued them.
he fucking kept them. And he actually added some of his own.
Yeah.
But now tariffs are the Antichrist. So I don't know.
Hold on. The play right now is everything fucking Trump does is going to destroy the planet. It's Chicken Little. It's going to be the sky is falling. The sky is falling. And when it turns out the sky isn't falling, we're going to act like it's because Trump's a big fat pussy and couldn't get it done or whatever the fuck. Extracting concessions from other countries with tariffs and the threat of tariffs is not a new fucking thing.
It's pretty standard, actually.
The Canadian people, if they distrust us so much, why are they still taking our money hand over fist? Give me a fucking break.
From what Scotty just broke down, most of the shit that people are most scared of in this thing is not even in this fucking thing.
Right.
And most of the stuff that is in there is just standard boilerplate Republican shit.
Hey, it's me from the future again. The reason we went on this little journey is so that I could show you TJ's stance on Trump and what he's doing now really in general has been, it doesn't matter. It isn't that important. It's the same as usual. He's not going to make serious change. It's standard Republican bullshit. There's that aspect of it that he's been arguing for really the better part of a year almost now. Okay. So there's that TJ position that Trump isn't that much of a change, that he's the same old. And then there's the position in this video where Trump is a raging fire that's going to destroy everything, right? So you can't both believe in those things, right? This is another example of TJ having two contradictory beliefs about something that you can't have contradictory beliefs about. You can't believe that Trump is both ineffective, business as usual, no big deal, and also a raging fire who's going to burn down the country, right? Those are two conflicting ideas. So I just want everyone to be aware of TJ's doublethink. This man is a fraud. He just intellectually is a fraud. So I want to be very clear that what we're listening to is a bullshit artist, right? All right, back to the video.
We need new ideas, bold ideas, the kinds of ideas that have been gatekept out of liberal and leftist spaces for far too long.
I don't know what he means by that, if he means universal health care or what, have been gatekept out of, well, I guess we're going to find out maybe.
To you gatekeepers out there, to you self-important cowards, the ones who shit on bold ideas and deride them as crazy, I have a question.
Wait, what bold ideas?
Where has your pragmatism gotten you? Where has your practicality gotten
Who is he making this video to?
Bosh.
Did we inspire this video?
I hope so. I hope we caused them to
lose their fucking minds.
Accidentally get good.
Did I inspire TJ's new Joker villain to emerge? What has pragmatism gotten you? So I'm really not clear who he's talking to. If he's talking to us, the more lefty liberal wing, who are more, who have more revolutionary ideas and who still think that it makes sense to vote for Democrats on that one day in November. If he's talking to us, or if he's talking to the Vosh, people like that, if he's talking to the Destiny people like that who feel similarly, if he's talking to the actual politicians themselves who are the actual pragmatists and centrists, if he's talking to them about their rejection of bold ideas, for example, the more progressive policies, if that's what he's talking about. But if he's asking broadly what our political system has gotten us, I don't know, the New Deal, Civil Rights Act, that kind of shit, safety regulations, I don't know.
Or he's talking the fifth option, a straw man in his head he's making up to tear down. Probably.
defeated, discarded, watching everything that you fought for crumble?
Yeah, I don't know who he's talking to.
But he really sounds like he's taking glee in the fact that democracy has fallen.
Yeah, well, he definitely is. And this is such, just people being idiots like this is why democracy is failing. But yeah.
To dust.
To dust. No, it hasn't. These institutions have not crumbled. They are going to hopefully endure. We're going to do, and by we, I mean me, and I mean you, and I mean the people watching and listening, and I mean all the people in our lives. We're going to do what we can to be the people that we need to be in this moment. History demands of us to fight this battle, and we are not going to shirk away from that. We're not going to pretend like it isn't happening. We're not going to accept fascism as an inevitability. When TJ talks about a fire, that's not really what Trump represents, right? The destruction is phase one of the plan. But there is this new order that the oligarchs want to institute where they have all the power, and that's what we're watching. So TJ is lying to you when he pretends like Trump is burning down the system. What he's actually doing is he's reinforcing the worst aspects of the systems, the ways that our country and our government function in the most corrupt ways. That's what he's building up. So he's taking the worst aspects of our system, the most authoritarian aspects of it, the most undemocratic and illiberal aspects of it. He's taking those and he's building those up, and he's getting rid of all those things that we have been fighting for. That's what's happening. So he's not so much burning down everything to like make a new fertile ground where anything can grow, right? That's not what he's doing. He's just using the institutions against themselves. That's what's happening. So you're a dipshit and you're lying to your audience.
And why? Because a man with stupid and wildly impractical ideas kicked your fucking ass.
They're not impractical, right? Like, again, if he had actually like paid attention during the Project 2025 episode, he would understand that Trump isn't really doing this chaotic new burn down everything scheme, right? He's actually just doing Project 2025, which is highly orchestrated. If only you had paid attention during that, you would have noticed all the things from Project 2025 that are happening now.
And I'm glad he did, because it's time for you to adapt or die. Let me tell you how it will be. You will stop with this nonstop repetition of what a fascist Trump is.
So here's what a fascist is. A fascist is a totalitarian ultra-nationalist. So someone who tries to do totalitarian ultra-nationalism is a fascist. There are different levels of fascist. Not every fascist is Nazi Germany, right? There have been plenty of governments with different parts of them that function as a fascist government does that aren't completely fascist, right? But a fascist is an ultra-nationalist and a totalitarian. And Trump absolutely fits that bill. He is a fascist. Don't stop calling him a fascist. Don't let them win this word game of Trump isn't a fascist for this reason, or even accurately describing him as a fascist is doing more harm than good, because you sound like a broken record. Trump is a fascist. Everybody should say that full-heartedly that he's a fascist. TJ has this fantasy world that he's living in where the people who get burned in the fire don't matter to him, but the people who are getting burned matter to me. It matters to me because, again, it's that old adage, right? When the Nazis came for Group X, I did not speak out. When the Nazis came for Group Y, I did not speak out. When the Nazis came for Group Z, I didn't speak out. And so when they came for me, there was no one to speak out for me. We are all Americans, but we're all humans, and we all are deserving of liberal rights. We're all deserving of equity under the law and representation, and it matters to me, the people who are getting burned, the people who will lose their lives because of Trump. And that's not hyperbole, because the presidents, the decisions they make, the things our federal government do, they matter. And, I'm going to put this in the sources. We do have evidence now of the first person dying because of the U.S. aid cuts. Yeah, so long way of saying TJ is being disingenuous. His solipsistic worldview has made it so that he doesn't care about the people getting burned. He's incapable of empathy for them. But we all need to rally around them and circle the wagons at this point. It is important that we do that and that we show those people that they do matter. When someone's house gets burned down, you pick them up and you help them out, right? You don't just say, well, it's time to build a new library there or whatever, a new Tesla factory.
You know why? Because America doesn't care.
Stop calling Trump a fascist because America doesn't care. TJ can go fuck himself. We make them care. All of you should care. People are starting to care around the country. People are waking up. In traditionally red states, they're finally realizing how fucked over they're being, that they're actually also on the slaughtering block, right? People are starting to realize, oh, the leopards are eating my face, so we're going to wake people up. That's the answer. The answer isn't to let the mass... It's not like mass apathy causes you to not speak the truth to power. No, that's not the answer. You do speak the truth, even if no one's listening, right? We are going to be Bernie Sanders screaming in that Congress hall to nobody about how fucked up the Iraq war is, because that's the right thing to do in the moment that we're in. We need to scream, even if it sounds like no one's listening, because they are. Because at some point, someone is going to hear this and it's going to make an impact in your life. Saying the things you say does matter, and speaking up for the truth matters, right? Because You know what? Nobody in Congress listened to Bernie, but 10 years later, that clip went viral and everybody saw it. And at that time, popular consensus had come around to, oh, he's right. And that was some of the best evidence for Bernie's wisdom and moral clarity. And that was one of the reasons why he rose so prominently in 2016. And we almost did break through. So don't let TJ's pessimism, which is just brought on by selfish apathy, cloud your judgment. Or cloud what you can be capable of. You don't have to accept that the country is going to burn down. You can stand against that. And, you know, I'm not going to get into it here, really, but I am making a larger video essay deconstructing TJ's philosophy and how he misrepresents chaos magic to you. But the goal of chaos magic is that you can do your will. You can affect change, okay? Everything is existing in a state of change right now, always. Everything in the universe is subject to that. Things are constantly changing. Nothing is inevitable. Trump is not inevitable. The fire is not inevitable. Don't believe in that. You have a will, and you have the ability to use your will to actualize it into the world and do good. So do good right now. So fight right now. That's what I would say. TJ's religion of being a selfish prick is not what you should follow. This man is a charlatan.
Nearly a decade of calling the man a fascist, a dictator, and the reincarnation of Hitler, he became the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years. This message of yours, it ain't landing. It never landed. It's time.
It is landing. It does land. People are understanding that.
If people don't believe it by now, a few more years of screaming isn't going to do the trick.
Oh, okay. Just
And
give
let's
up.
Be real.
So what? There can be multiple tactics, right? Be multiple. So if screaming that he's not a fascist isn't working, and that's not good messaging, that doesn't mean that we change the message that Trump is a fascist. That means that we find better ways to deliver it. Okay? Make a better argument. Do something better. Make people understand in a different way. Use your art. Use your voice. Do something to make a difference. Use what power you have and be creative. You're a human, okay? The person listening to this, you're a human. You're such a powerful person. You have so much potential to change so much in the world. Don't listen to this, what TJ's saying. It's bullshit. It's total bullshit. If it's not working, try a different way. Use your creativity. Use that human mind and that human ingenuity to come up with some way to get that message out there and to make the people in your life who need to understand it, understand it. Show them how the fascism affects them.
Plenty of people in this country want fascism.
They
may
thought
not
they wanted
like
fascism.
the word, but they love the reality of it.
Yeah, people are really happy right now. People, if there's one thing that we've seen, it's that people are totally satisfied with Trump and they don't have buyer's remorse, right?
Yeah, what's his popularity poll?
Yeah, it's down to like Biden numbers now.
In the honeymoon period too.
Let's take a minute and talk about fascism and how people want fascism, okay? There are people who want fascism. There's like people whose ideology is fascism, right? Like the Yarvinites. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about people like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, who are devotees of Curtis Yarvin, who's basically a neo-monarchist philosopher. We're going to probably do a deep dive into him and his philosophy in a future episode. That's why I'm making a distinction between those types of people and like the typical Christian nationalists like Nick Fuentes or Charlie Kirk or whatever. Those are the distinctions that I'm making. So there are people like that who are fascist in ideology and understand that. And then there are like ultra nationalists who just worship patriotism, or Christian nationalists who just fundamentally believe in the Bible. So they're inherently fascist because you sort of have to be to fundamentally believe in the Bible and think that it's good. There are people like that too, right? Who don't really know they're fascist, but their ideology is similar to fascism in a lot of ways. So there's those people, and those are the groups he's talking about when he says people want fascism. But most people don't want fascism. Most people can understand why it's good to have liberal individual rights. Most people can understand why totalitarianism isn't a good thing. They're just ignorant, right? And so it's our job now to combat that.
Big daddy government to tell them what to do. And what is the left off?
And that's, of course, the people don't like that, especially in America. We are a very don't tread on me sort of people, right? From the left to the right, we sort of have that mentality of individualism and wanting our space and wanting the government to not control intimate aspects of our lives. You know, so this is not what TJ is saying here does not represent who we are nationally, what our identity ought to be, or the better nature of it, I should say. Most people don't want that. Most of you can understand why it's good that the government doesn't force you to work a certain job or marry a certain person, right? Most of you can understand that.
Offer them instead a powerless, tepid, weak little mess.
Joker again.
Yeah, this is so fucking terrible.
Tax credits, would that do it?
Tax credits do help a lot of people.
Every time it doesn't get easier.
No, it doesn't. TJ, you really are just the Goblin King, right? Like, that's all I would say.
Not the David Bowie one.
No.
The Guillermo del Toro one.
None of your
Yes.
attacks on Trump will ever land until anyone believes for a second that you can do better. And the weak, uninspired nothingness
Like your podcast.
of the Joe Biden presidency proved that you can't.
So, of course, if you followed the channel, in the other videos we've done, I've had to go over Joe Biden's record and talk about the 10 million Americans that did get access to healthcare because of Joe Biden's presidency, which was something that was hugely influenced by Bernie Sanders. So when they talk about how Bernie Sanders sold out the country for nothing, he actually did have a lot of influence on Joe Biden and his platform. There actually was sort of a progressive Project 2025 that was like a playbook that Bernie Sanders and his coalition put together. Basically, there were a lot of things that did influence the Biden admin from the more progressive things. So healthcare, I already talked about that, but union enrollment. So Joe Biden, let's keep on saying it, was one of the few presidents, was like the only president in the last 30 years to leave office with higher union enrollment than when he entered office. We're going to, I'm going to link again, because I just have all the sources still. I'll link like the NLRB rulings under the Biden administration and how Donald Trump has totally gutted them. There are important things that Joe Biden did. He was the most progressive president of our lifetime. So when we talk about incrementalism and how the change happens slowly, but it does happen, we are making progress, or we were making some progress on those specific fronts with Joe Biden. So those changes do matter. Obviously, Joe Biden's presidency overall was extremely disappointing, but we are making progress.
That's some vote blue no matter who bullshit I hear.
Joe Biden was a powerless little pushover. Trump has Elon Musk firing everybody, stealing government data, shutting down entire departments with practically nothing standing in his way.
Yeah, those are real people who are dying because of that, right? Like the people whose lives depended on USAID. There are thousands of government employees whose lives have been destroyed since Donald Trump took over. A lot of them veterans. I'm going to link just in the sources. I'll have like some of the actual Americans who have had their lives ruined by Trump, and where it did make a difference. It did matter that, there was a Biden admin versus a Harris admin versus a Trump admin. It does materially matter. So you're going to get some of those stories in the sources. And I do think it's important to get the word out there to talk about how our countrymen have been attacked by the president and by the fucking robber baron piece of shit apartheid nepo baby oligarch Elon Musk.
Yes.
When the courts try to stop Trump, he threatens the judges. When someone stands in his way, he crushes them with the full might of his power.
His unitary executive theory, one might say.
Right. Yeah. His unilateral, illegal, unconstitutional power. Yeah.
What did Joe Biden do? He couldn't even get Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema in line. If he really gave a shit, those two would have been terrified to oppose.
He should have threatened them.
I'm starting to think he is a wizard.
Why?
Because his cadence is causing me to get hypnotized and fall asleep. Oh my God.
It has the opposite effect on
How
me.
much longer is this video? Just kidding.
This 10-minute video.
You are getting
seems
very
like an
sleepy
eternity.
now.
You are.
Close your eyes and focus on my words. When I count down to 10, you will redacted.
Ugh, my mind just rejects that. I think I'm like impervious to hypnotism because like I have that thing where like the second I'm getting lulled into that state, everything in my body says, fight this, resist this. This is not okay.
Are you saying that if a certain Professor Against the Dark Arts professor made you fight the Imperious Curse, you would win?
I think I would, yeah. I
Oh.
think so. I think if it's possible to win, I think I would. I don't trust anyone. Are you kidding? I am a
have
faithless man. that should be
Harry
apparent.
Potter reference in there.
We do, yeah. But TJ's voice is having the opposite effect. It's like anti-ASMR. Like I hear it and I get angrier every sentence.
True.
was his agenda, but they weren't. Why not?
Like every time he talks, I want to scream that he's an idiot. At the end of because he says it in such a pompous cunt way.
He is a pompous
We're
cunt.
not coming back. Trump is destroying it with all of his power.
Because Biden was a civility politics pussy who didn't get the memo that that era of American politics is deader than disco, baby.
Ugh, cliche.
Civility is gone. Power is the only game.
So he is a fascist, right?
Okay, Cersei Lannister.
Yeah, civility politics are maybe part of the problem that led us here. TJ here is basically, he's like fascism is like believing in strength above all else, right? It's this imperialist idea.
It always was. It's over.
It's over.
The old norms are dead. Trump understands that. His movement embraces that. Meanwhile, the left clings to outdated notions of decorum, respect.
Do we? So some on the left do, right? There are your Chuck Schumers, there are your Hakeem Jeffries, and then there are your Al Greens, okay? So be more like an Al Green. Don't be a Hakeem Jeffries, okay? We should represent the disrespectful left.
Stability. While their enemies rewrite the rules in real time, MAGA
They're just breaking the rules.
does not ask for permission. It doesn't wring its hands over, ooh, is that fair? Is that...
Right, that's why they're the bad guys. That's one of the things that makes them the evil characters in this, right? They're the villains because of those things, because they don't give a shit about what's right or wrong. That's why they're cunts that need to be destroyed.
bipartisan? You know what it does instead? It just takes what it wants.
Right, like a rapist.
And if the left wants to survive, it needs to learn how to take as well. It's time to abandon the feudal strategy of moral outrage and lean into power. Not just electoral power, actual power. The ability...
Ew. The power of flinging your snot across the room. I'm really torturing you tonight.
Yeah, but it's fine.
Did
Not
you see
just
that?
electoral power,
No.
actual power. The ability to dictate reality. Acting to it, the power to
there we go.
impose rather than to
You're welcome.
negotiate.
Times 2
To
volume.
shape the
Oh,
future
No, just
rather
normal.
than just beg for a seat at the table, or worse yet, beg for little scraps. Maybe a crumb will fall down here and then I'll have something too. The left needs to stop being the whimpering pseudo-opposition and start being a force of reckoning.
So what does this mean? What specifically is he advocating for? How do we use our power? How do our elected officials use their power? There are dozens of ways they could, right? There are dozens of ways that the left could use their power, in Congress, in the courts, in the streets, right? Like, there are ways to use our power. There are ways to fight back. But I'm confused because I thought TJ said that the fire is inevitable, so it doesn't make sense to fight back. And also, specifically, how should we use our power? So I'm sure he'll get to it by the end of this. He'll tell us what he means by that.
The American people do not give a bumblebee's big old tits.
what?
A bumblebee's big old tits. Why not big old boobies, right? If you're doing alliteration.
A bumblebee's ball sack.
A bumblebee's ball sack.
Or just a different animal.
About middle
Bumblebee's big old titties.
of the road policies that are watered down from the jump. You want votes? Give people something to vote for.
Is he making the same argument that Bernie Sanders making that he was mocking Bernie Sanders for making? So basically the whole message of this video is that Trump is inevitable. There's no going back. We need to represent our people better. Like the Democrats need to do a better job of representing their constituents. Is the whole point of this video. That's what it means to use power. But also fuck Bernie for funneling people into the Democrats. Your brain is so cooked, TJ. This is so pathetic. This is a
Absolute
pathetic
soup.
new low. Like, holy shit. Basically, what we need to do is the Democrats need to be better representatives of their constituents. Ooh, like, yeah, bro, for sure.
It's not that hard, you fucking morons. They want houses. They want cheap gas, cheap food. They want cities without rotting buildings and homeless tents. They want to feel safe walking down the street. They want to be able to afford to do fun shit, take a trip, see a show, eat a nice dinner. If they have a family, they want to keep it fed and happy. How the fuck?
Nice cut. I want to know what it was cut out of that.
I don't know. This is a whole new personality now.
Did you idiots lose sight of this basic shit? Oh, wait. I know. Started taking too much money from the scumfuck parasite.
Yeah, so like oligarchs like Elon Musk. And then his final conclusion is that agency capture is bad, which is what I've been talking about for over a year, but it's really from the start of this channel, at least on YouTube. But that's something that Bernie Sanders has been talking about since 2016. We know.
Yeah, but they don't watch the news, so they don't know.
So TJ's message is that agency capture, that corruption in our political system is bad, right? So Bernie's message, and that Democrats fail to represent their constituents and should focus more on that, which is also Bernie's message. So his message is Bernie's message, but fuck Bernie for actually doing his job.
Well, Bernie is too old, unless you agree with him. So,
do you like the hypocrisy of this, right? Like the fact that he's so fucking twisted up mentally, he doesn't understand like how he like refutes himself from video to video. It's insane.
we really slept on him.
Yeah, I have. Well, because I hadn't watched any of his shit for like a year
Neither have I.
until the Chaos Magic thing came out, and that piqued my interest. And I'm like, oh my god.
Well, also he only
this is
just
horrible.
released Abandoned Hope like clips onto his channel for like 4 years.
Yeah, which oh my god, fucking lose me with that shit. Like
6 hours of fucking karaoke. No.
People's misery. The class of subhuman filth who despise everyday people and want them trapped and miserable and obedient. I speak, of course, of the architects of submission.
oh my god.
This is the battlefield now.
Oh man. Okay, so I speak, of course, of the oligarchy up there who would oppress you. So that's why we need to think about it more.
It's not left versus right. That's over.
Yeah, by the way, guys, it is left versus right. The right wing is the party of the oligarchy right now. This wouldn't happen under a Democratic administration, what's happening now. We wouldn't have an oligarch running a train through our federal agencies. That wouldn't happen under a Democrat. Your representation would not be so destroyed under a Democratic administration. So TJ actually is the one who doesn't see reality. When we talk about left and right, we don't mean like strict economic rightism, versus strict economic leftism. In America, we're using that to describe the two sides here that do exist, right? And one side is very much the party of the oligarchy, and there's one side that still does represent us in some ways that we can work within, that has historically been our best method of getting rights and expanding our freedoms, right?
It's not Democrat versus Republican.
It is, guys. It is Democrat versus Republican right now.
That's over too.
It's not over.
Now there are only those who shape the world and those who allow the world to shape them. The active versus the passive. Are you a force?
Okay, so that's always been the case, right? There have always been just NPCs who like meander their way through life and never put further thought into it. And then there have always been people who, who have that drive in them to do something different, to change the world or to change themselves in some way, who see that there's a problem and who feel the need to amend that. Okay, those things have always existed. There have always been active and passive people. TJ is the epitome of a passive person.
Of creation? Or are you just another piece to be moved on somebody else's board?
And even if it is the case that some of us are active thinkers and some of us are just pawns to be moved on a board, the pawns matter, right? Even if you are just a fucking NPC sheeple, whatever, I don't know. But I still want you to have healthcare and human rights. And I'm still going to fight for your rights. I'm still an ally to you in that way. Even if you are part of the problem by passively consuming without thinking about what you're doing, my hope would be to awaken that type of person. But even if I can't, I still want to live in a society where their life isn't terrible.
Because in the end, there is no given path. There is only the one that you carve by daring to walk forward.
This is just nothing. This is basically Jordan Peterson level pseudo-self-help bullshit.
Despite what stands in your way.
The most obvious thing in life is like, yeah, sometimes you have to persevere through things. Maybe TJ just learned that. I don't know. But yeah, obviously, like, you should be determined and you should cut your own way in life if you can. You should work to actualize your will in your life. That's the most basic thing that everyone understands, that every like drugstore fucking self-help book will tell you.
Help me feed the dark gods of the YouTube algorithm.
It just ends like that.
Yeah.
Liking and commenting.
And this is the video voice I was talking
also,
about.
Whether you're a current
That's
subscriber
AI.
or a new one, if you want to go a step further, check the link in the description and share this video with a friend.
Okay. So that's what TJ has been up to recently. Just a lot of bullshit, a lot of just random word games in there. Again, the moral that I would like people to take away is that this is not inevitable. Trump is not inevitable. It's our job, all of us. We have a responsibility to fight back in whatever ways we can. And that's going to mean something different for you than it does for me. It'll mean something different for everyone. We should look at life always as trying to recognize opportunities when they come up, right? The ways that you can make a change, right? That's really what I would like people to focus on is how can I make a difference here? And if you find yourself thinking like, well, there is no way for me to make a difference, that's not true, because there always is, right? Because if we know one thing, it's that change is inevitable. You're capable of making decisions that affect change. You have that choice. You can behave in a way that causes change, and you should. Especially now, that's what your country and your world, right? That's what your fellow humans, your brothers and sisters here, we need each other for that. That really is the social contract. The only way this works is if enough of us feel that way. And we're obviously not going to have everyone feel that way, and not everyone is going to feel a social responsibility towards their fellow man and whatever. That's fine. Like, society can endure that as long as there are enough people who do. That's what I would say. TJ, terrible work. You've been downplaying Trump this whole time. You've been talking about how the things that Trump is doing now aren't going to happen for months and months. And then when they do happen, you talk about how it's actually a fire making room for something new and it's inevitable, and that Chuck Schumer's right when he says Trump will tire himself out. So is he a great force of destruction, or is he a toddler who's going to tire himself out? Who knows? You don't care. It doesn't matter to you. So, but it does matter to me, and it should matter to the people listening to and watching this. And let's really think about ways that we can affect change in our lives. There are going to be a lot of new videos coming at you. including we're going to do a deep dive into Paul's Ukraine takes, which I find, I'm very critical of. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we end it here?
Like always, no.
Okay. You guys have a good night.
Like and subscribe.